So today I want to talk about negative thoughts. And this is something that plagued me for quite some time, especially when I was a teenager and a young adult in my early 20s. So even though I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a doctor, I'm going to give you basically what I did and what helped me basically get through, negative thoughts and how I transformed them into something more positive. And now, most of the time, majority of the time, let's say like 80% of the time, I'm a positive person and I think positively. Kind of like the first thing I want to talk about is negative thoughts are actually a normal thing most of the time. It's only not normal when it's preventing you from getting on with your day-to-day activities. It's only not normal when it's basically making you not achieve the things that you want to achieve because, you can't help but have these negative thoughts. Now, if you are going through something like that, again, I'm not a doctor or a therapist, so I highly recommend that you go and seek a professional if you feel like this is happening to you quite chronically and you feel like this is happening to you all the time. Because if it's happening to you all the time, there might be some other underlying issue there that you may need to get help with. So I highly recommend that you do that because that kind of help is invaluable and will help you. A YouTube video probably won't do that. But the reason why I say negative thoughts are normal is because human beings are designed, our brains are designed for survival. So, a negative thought might be, oh, it's kind of scary down that dark alley, I shouldn't walk down there. That's a good negative thought to have, Another negative thought might be, I would really love to run across this street, but I'm not going to run across this street because I'm afraid to. And that's good because there are such things as cars that could really, really damage you and hurt you. So, having negative thoughts is a normal phenomenon, and it is something that, is there to actually help us survive. That's why most human beings, most of the time, in fact, all of us probably seek to be at a state of comfort. That's why it's so easy to stay in bed for a long, prolonged amount of time than to get up and go for a run. That's why it's easy to just sit on the sofa and watch Netflix than to do something more strenuous like writing a blog post or, creating something for your business. We all want to be at that level of comfort. We all are seeking comfort. People start work and at the beginning of the workday, they're thinking about the end of the workday when they can relax and feel comfortable again. So one of the things that really helped me, one of the people that really helped me, and I would say that this guy, out of everybody that I admire, has changed my life the most. And that is Dr. Wayne Dyer. Now, at some point, I came across one of his lectures called The Power of Intention, and I have a DVD of that actual lecture. And this is one of my favorite lectures, probably one of my favorite talks. It's something that I go to for comfort and things like that. And one of the great quotes in that course, that DVD, is Dr. Wayne Dyer says, "When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." And basically what this means is you can change how you are perceiving something. So if a negative thought drops in your head and you catch it, you can transmute it into a more positive thought. And this is something that really, really helped me. I can't pinpoint the moment when I started doing this, but I think it was just a gradual thing that just occurred to me after listening to so much of Dr. Wayne Dyer, watching a lot of his PBS specials and things like that, and reading a lot on personal development as well. Just indulging in that kind of stuff and just all the time just consuming that kind of content. Eventually, I got to a point where I would catch my negative thoughts. And that's something that I still do now. So whenever I feel low, whenever I feel bad, whenever I have a limiting belief just come into my head, I transmute it. I think, what else could this mean? That's a question I ask myself a lot when a negative thought comes into my head. What else could this mean? So let's take the example then of someone who, let's say you go to work with, and one day they're a little bit short with you, and it seems like they may not be very happy with you, and they seem angry at you. a good question to ask yourself is that question, what else could this mean? So it might not be something that you did. It could be that they had a bad night's sleep. It could be that they're hungry. It could be that they had an argument with their spouse. It could be that, one of their family members has just got a terminal illness and they've only just learned about it. It could be that they're having financial issues. If you ask yourself that question, what else could this mean? It might not necessarily be you. Now, it could be true that they are angry at you, but it might not be. There might be other things going on. So if you kind of do that to like loads of different kind of situations, ask yourself, what else could this mean? Let's say, for example, you have a thought one day and it is, why do I always sabotage myself? That's a question, that I definitely have sometimes, why do I sabotage myself? And if that thought pops into your head, ask yourself, what else could this mean? It's like, well, am I really sabotaging myself, or am I just really tired today? Do I just need a break today? Am I self-sabotaging, or am I just not really passionate about what I'm doing? Ask yourself those questions. Question your thoughts. Question those negative beliefs. Question those negative thought patterns that come into your head. Question it. Always question it. Always be questioning it. And perhaps sometimes your instinct is correct. Perhaps, if you're feeling really bad one day, what you are believing and thinking about yourself might be true. Perhaps that is the reason why you're feeling negative. Perhaps that is the reason why your life isn't working. But question it, because when you do question it and you think, what else could this mean? What else could be happening here? It makes it less intense. It makes it less dramatic. So instead of trying to remove negative thoughts from your head, because that's impossible, you can't remove negative thoughts from your head. You're always going to have a few throughout the day, no matter what. You can't remove these things. So it's best to instead be like an alchemist and transmute it into something positive. You question it, you think, what else could this mean? And then you pick something that's more empowering and you think, okay, well, it's probably just because I'm tired today. It's probably just because I ate something funny. It could be just because I didn't get enough sleep, but I'm going to have more energy tomorrow, and I'm going to find ways how I can, get a better night's sleep tonight. Another thing, is how, another thing that you can ask is, okay, so perhaps let's say you wasted the day because you were just thinking negatively and you think, well, what can I do now? What can I do with the time I have left today to make it better? What can I do to improve my day today? And tomorrow is obviously, of course, a new day. So, asking those kinds of questions, transmuting those negative thoughts, because negative thoughts are sometimes going to be there, right? And there's nothing really much you can do about having negative thoughts, but you can transmute them. You can think about something more positive instead. You can change it, and that's why I really love that quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And one of the best ways that you can do that is by catching those negative thoughts when they occur and trying to think of something more positive. Now, it might be but obviously you don't want to, BS yourself. So if you have a negative thought like, I feel really sad today, and you think, and you catch your thought and you're like, no, I'm really happy today. Sometimes, obviously that's not going to feel authentic to you if you really are feeling sad. So instead of trying to think of instead of changing I'm sad to I'm happy, even though you don't really feel happy at all, you need to be authentic. You need to find something that is true. It's like, okay, well, I'm not happy today. I'm feeling quite sad today. But how can I become more happier today? What can I do to feel more happy today? What can I do about that? And that's a really, really powerful thing that you can adopt. That's something that you can control. Even though you may be having a negative thought, make sure that before you switch it to something else, switch it to something positive, make sure it's something that you truly feel. Otherwise, you're just going to feel inauthentic and like you're kidding yourself. So even though we can't really stop negative thoughts, we can't remove them from our heads, we can do something else about it. And we can be like a thought alchemist and transmute those negative thoughts into something more positive, even if it's just slightly more positive. So I highly recommend that you actually watch for yourself The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. I also recommend that you get the book of it as well, because that's also quite valuable. I think if you type into YouTube The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer, you should be able to find the lecture of it somewhere on there. But I really do recommend that you watch it because I think it's life-changing, and it's something that really, really helped me, like phenomenally helped me, being someone who has negative thoughts to being someone who has more positive thoughts. And it's all about when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at start to change. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.